the last state championship for the Sylacauga Aggies 30 years ago until Saturday. Sylacauga, the new 5A state champion. Joining us this morning is coaches Will Copeland and Joel Jones. And gentlemen, good morning to you.
Good morning, sir.
Thanks for being with us today. And boy, what a ride it's been, Coach.
It's been a great ride. So I can't start out today without thanking God for blessing us so much. We prayed, and we, not just for wins, but for health, and we can't forget God has really blessed this basketball program, basketball team this year.
Yes.
When did you guys begin? I know you, Coach Jones, and you work closely together. When did you begin to sense that, hey, this could be a special team and a special run this year?
I believe last year when we made it to the Final Four, and I think part of us a little bit last year was just happy to be there. And we knew who we had to play, and it was a tough basketball game. And having the guys back, having a lot of those guys back, and the work they put in the summer and starting, and especially in August when we started school, the running, and we knew that we had put in the work. But when we, there was a lot of games when we went to Tuscaloosa for Thanksgiving and we got beat by Huffman in the final and had a chance to win. That was one game. It's like, if we, make a few plays there in the last 30 seconds, we beat one of the top 7A teams in the state, and we went to Hoover, won 3 out of 4 there. And just throughout the season, these guys never stopped working. And we knew throughout the postseason we would have to catch a break, and we caught some. But we just, Coach Jones just just was there all the time working, and the kids were there working, and we knew it was going to be a good year. We just didn't know it was going to turn out like this.
Coach Jones, back in the summer and early fall when people are thinking about football and getting back into school and stuff like that, the sledding's a little difficult for the kids. They got to be focused on it, and obviously you worked through that situation and got these kids ready to play, and congratulations to you as well.
Thank you. It's a major commitment. I was thinking this morning, basketball has become an 11-month thing at Sylacauga High School. We'll start in a couple of weeks with our 4th block workout classes. And from that point, we'll go into our summer play. And from that point, most schools just shut it down in terms of basketball. But what we'll do is we'll take an hour a day and we'll go back into the weight room and we'll do big time box jumping and weight lifting, and that'll go up almost until school start. And from that point, we'll start 4th block all over again, leading into the season.
So it never ends, really, right?
Sorry.
Let's rewind to the finals down at Alabama State, and a last-second shot catapulted you guys,
Right.
And that's almost unheard of with that little amount of time remaining.
Yes, sir. It was the first semifinal game against Booker T. Washington. They had a great game plan. They packed in the zone, and we didn't shoot well that day, and we played a very bad basketball game, and we came down, and it was a tie game, and they went ahead, and there was 6 seconds left. We called timeout, and we drove it down. We gave it to Darian Garrett. He made a pass. It was blocked out of bounds. The time went off, and so the guys, they put 0.6 seconds back on the clock. And we came over, and my first instinct was like, we need to throw it to the rim. And we were sitting there, and I was, drawing it up. And Coach Jones, we have a play called City. I was at Fort Payne, and we have a play called City. And he said, City. He just said one word, City. And I sat there, and I was like, man, that ain't going to work because they're gonna deny it and all that stuff. Well, we go back out, and they're packed guys in the zone. I'm like, City, because it was a play where we screened, guy goes the corner and guard goes the top, and it was a coach made a good call, and they had 3 guys in the lane, and Darian Garrett ran up, caught it at the top, and the rest is history. So,
Coach Jones, it's almost with that little amount of time left is just touch and shoot.
You got to catch and shoot. I think the high school regulation says that 0.3 you can't have a shot attempt, but anything above 0.3 you can catch and shoot. And fortunately, we had enough time. If I were to be honest, most of the time in a game like that, the shot doesn't fall. And I had my doubts, just to be honest. But when that ball went through the net, it was just, it's unbelievable. And the way I'm feeling right now about winning the state championship, I still don't know how to feel about it. It's unbelievable. It is.
The young man who hit the winning shot, he's been clutch for you.
He was clutch on that shot that game. He didn't have his best shooting night. I mean, they played us zone, and we were shooting threes. And, Darian stepped up in that moment, and he just, everybody has bad games. He just didn't shoot well that game. But he made the shot when it counted.
Well, you go on to win the finals at Alabama State and then move to the Final Four in Birmingham and against a team that had beaten you 3 times in the regular season.
Beat us. The first time was the stubbornness of the head coach pressing too much. And plus they had a guy who hit 5 3-pointers in the first quarter. And I'm talking about was shooting them from probably about here all the way to our gym. They were deep threes and they handled us very well. That game and the next game, I thought we did a good job of getting back, and we just didn't make plays at the end. We had a lead of 6 points, and we struggled against their pressure there at the end. And then at the county tournament final, it was very similar. We had we were down 2 and shooting free throws and missed a free throw and got a good look, and we just didn't make it. And it was tough. And I told them after the game, I said, guys, if we keep up, we might have another shot at these guys.
Right.
And of course, at the time, you're thinking it'd be really difficult to get back to Birmingham. But I had looked at the cross regions, and I knew we had crossed with them the first round, and I told them that. And you think that then, but as time went along, and you go along, and especially after we hit that shot, so we got a chance to play these guys again.
And Coach Jones, having played Talladega 3 times, even though there were 3 losses prior to the semifinals, you gleaned a lot of things from those losses.
We did. Really, it's a testimony of how great basketball is in this county for 2 schools less than 30 minutes away to play in the Final Four. That's a testimony. And I told Coach Copeland all along that I felt real good about our chances against Talladega. I really thought we were the better basketball team that just hadn't gotten it done yet. We should have won 2 of those games that we lost. But you got to win when the clock strikes 0, you got to be ahead, and we wasn't. But I did feel that we were a better basketball team than they were.
You beat Talladega. And for the first time in 4 tries, and that was the most important time in the Final Four semifinals. And that pits you against Eufaula Tigers in a game of both teams had a lot of runs in that game.
We did. We knew going in that they were very similar to us, the way they played. I know Coach Smith from his days at Russellville, very good coach, and he's got some players. When we saw him play with Nona, we just noted those guys play hard, and we knew our guys play hard, and we knew somebody was going to have to gut it out to the end, and we saw that, when they were playing with Nona, we saw it on film, and so we just had to step up that game.
Yeah,
and of course, Sylacauga with a big run in the second half, and what was 17-0 or something like that?
It was 51-40, and we had called timeout again.
and you're really in trouble right now.
We were in trouble. We were in trouble because they were knocking down shots, and we went to zone 1 possession, and we left a kid open. He popped a shot, and we came over and we told him, said, look, we fought too hard to get here to stop. And it's, they had the momentum, and it was in the third quarter. We had time, and we've been in this situation before. We had been in situations where we were down. I mean, we won a game down 2 with 0.6 seconds. I mean, you see that should give you confidence that this game is never over, especially with the way we play and press. We're not a half-court team, so if we had to get back in the half-court and get stops, maybe, but because of our press and the depth that we have coming off the bench, it's never over when we play.
Once you got that run going, and go on to win in overtime 79-78. When you go into a timeout, Coach Jones, a lot of us novices are looking at a timeout and saying, what are they doing over there? Well, what are you doing over there?
First of all, we had to regroup and kind of, pick the guys up. tell them to think positive. The game is not over. This team had a knack all year for getting down and fighting back. And I think that the reason we're able to do that is because of the work that we put in the off season, the conditioning and the running that sometimes the kids don't understand, but I think all of that paid off. And that's why we were able to get down 10, 12 points and just come right back, fight right back. Plus, they do have a fighter's instinct. They really do. Those guys are fighters.
Yeah.
Both teams had opportunity to win in regulation.
We did. We just couldn't get a rebound, and there were several possessions where we were up 2 or up 3, and if we get and this is one thing we told them in the huddle is, we've got to get a stop. We got to get a stop, and then they're going to foul us, and then we've got to go make free throws, and that just never happened.
Yeah,
it just never happened that way because we just couldn't. We couldn't get a defensive rebound. We did a good job of contesting because they were playing defense. We just couldn't get a rebound.
right.
Walk us through the overtime period. Sylacauga beating Eufaula 79-78. It wasn't easy. Eufaula, Coach Jones, they've got a good basketball team as well.
They do. The fight that I talked about us having, they have that same pedigree. And, really the game should never have went into overtime. But that's the nature of basketball. It's a game of runs. Like they were up 10 or 11 or 12 points, and we fought back. And then we took total control of that game in the fourth quarter. And going down the stretch, that last 2-minute period, we were up comfortable. And all we've got to do is take care of business, make free throws, don't turn the ball over. But things worked out just the opposite. So going into overtime, I'm kind of like thinking, how did we even get here? Mm-hmm. But you got to give those guys credit for us going to overtime. They were the reason. They fought back. They didn't quit. So overtime, we came out strong. We scored maybe the first 6 points, and we were able to hold on and get the win. Fortunately, we lose with 1 point win, Coach.
Yes, sir.
1 point.
Coach Copeland, it seems like sometimes when you're shooting free throws,
right,
that the rim shrinks.
It does. It does. And it's just, in basketball, you're not always going to have 5 guys that can shoot free throws. And we told them, especially in that situation, get the ball to number 3.
Yeah.
Because number 3, in our regional final against Calera was 7 out of 8 the last couple of minutes. We knew we wanted to get it Darren's hand, and he missed the last 2, but he was playing defense and got a little bit hurt on the other end. So, yeah, it's just sometimes we have guys that have to step up and make free throws.
Overtime win over Eufaula 79-78. Sylacauga, the 5A state champion. First time in 30 years.
Yeah, it's been great. Coach Douglas was the coach in 1988, came spoke to our guys before the game, and there was a lot of former players because it's Sylacauga basketball. Mm-hmm. Just today and yesterday and next, it's going to continue to go on next year and the previous years, and we're all part of a family of basketball.
Coach Jones, how long have you been associated with Sylacauga athletics and basketball?
It's been a long time. I started in 1978 with Justin Martin again and Gerald Douglas. And of course, we had the ceremony where we did dedicate the court in honor of those 2 great coaches. Yeah. So I was there with those guys till about 84. I was with Gerald Douglas on his bench when we lost the championship game in 82. And 84, I started I started officiating high school basketball up until the early 2000s. Then Bobby Hall became head coach of Sylacauga High School, and he approached me and asked me if I'd be interested in joining his staff. So from early 2000 up until this point, I've been a part.
Coach Copeland, it obviously just flows and meshes between you guys and your coaching staff. How much difference does that make as far as confidence for those kids to play off of you guys' relationship?
It's been great because the kids come in and we have different personalities. Mm-hmm. But the main thing that works between us is that, sometimes we do disagree about what we need to do, and it's going to happen as far as coaching is concerned. But at the end of the day, we're sticking together. We're always, we're pushing kids. We're trying to get better, and the kids see two different personalities, but it's two. I learned a long time ago that you always hire people and get people around you that are smarter than you. This guy knows basketball. He's got a lot of wisdom, and you just try to do what you can along with Coach Jones to bring out the best in these kids so that we can put them in situations like they were in.
Talk about, and both of you can speak to this, the 8 seniors that were integral part of this state championship team and Sylacauga High School basketball.
My second year, it was not going so good. And at the end of the year, we brought up Malik Crawford and Darian Garrett and Keaton Wilson as freshmen. And we started all 3 of them in the area tournament as freshmen. And we didn't win. We lost to Talladega. Mm-hmm. But that was the start. We won 6 out of our last 8 games, bringing those guys up. And then the sophomore year, those guys, and we brought some more up then. And then it culminated into this year of, we won 21 games their sophomore year and 26 last year. And we, won 30 games this year, which is the most in school history. So it's been, those guys have been great. They've done a good job of just really giving it everything they got, not just, basketball, but I brought 5 of them every day to Indian Valley or once a week to Indian Valley, reading with these kids and after school and mentoring and working with these. We talked to them this week, and I talked to them about. Then I brought all the underclassmen in and told them, I said, look, you've got a high bar that you've got to reach, and it's because of those seniors. Those 8 seniors were a big part of that.
Coach Jones, in a program like Sylacauga's, losing 8 seniors, you got to have some people to younger kids to step up for, because the next season will be here before you know it. Yeah,
and we were on this show before the season started, and I think I made mention that the beauty of coaching is losing seniors and bringing in upperclassmen and figuring a way to win. You just got to figure what they do well, and you got to be able to organize it, and you got to figure a way to win ball games with what's coming. I think I said that colleges, they recruit talent. We don't have that opportunity. Right. So we look forward to the challenge next year. In fact, we're still happy about this year, but we're also ready to start all over again. That's the thing about winning. You have to move on, celebrate for now and move on and get ready for next year.
And Coach Copeland, not only does it energize the kids, it ignites the support of fans putting butts in the seats.
Yeah, the support of our city has been great. I mean, we had police escorts, we had people lined up on the road cheering for us, and it's it's because of the success of what our kids have done, and it's been great. Our city has supported us, and we're very blessed.
As a matter of fact, you guys were honored last night at Sylacauga City Council.
City Council, right. And just we have a parade tomorrow at 4:00. So it's been great because it's because we're winning, and that's great. But some of these people, there's been when we lost in my 3rd year, we went to the regionals and we lost, and Mr. Proctor, Lister Proctor, was in that parking lot waiting on that bus. He was the only one. There was one person waiting for us, and his support's been good. And we pulled up on that bus, and we had just lost, a game to Booker T. Washington. They were there. And then last year, making it to the Final Four, we had more fans. And this year, the support's been great. When we pull up at the, at the end of the Talladega game at 10 o'clock at night, they're out there waiting for us, so it's been great.
You mentioned early on in the show about bringing up underclassmen last year, I think it was, or maybe 2 years ago. Yeah. Talk about other teaching moments that you have been able to look back on and say, wow, that was really impactful with the success of our club.
Right, and I think as a basketball coach, especially the head basketball coach, you're responsible for, the decisions that have to be made, and that was just a decision that you sometimes have to do, and you ask opinions and you have thoughts, but sometimes you just got to pull the trigger and say, hey, and just Coach Jones and I both noticed these guys got they've got something special about them. There's just something about them that we decided we're going to go with. And even though for some it was disappointing and it's tough, we just knew that we had to pull the trigger on that.
Mm-hmm. Coach Jones, a moment when you can look back on it now and say that was a wow moment. It may not have started out as a wow moment, but it actually worked out to be.
Yeah. You asked, was talking about not long ago in this interview that Coach Copeland, how did we know or did we see this coming? He felt that we had a shot this year because I had the B team that was 24-1 last year, and he said, Coach, I'm gonna bring those guys up, but if you don't mind, we're gonna find somebody to coach the B team, and you and I can come together and put all our focus on this team this year. Yeah. And evidently he knew something, he was feeling something, but I didn't see it, but I didn't see it coming, but he saw it, and it worked out. It worked out. I just didn't see this coming, but evidently he saw something.
What does it mean long term? This team won 30-odd games this year, state champion in Class 5A. What does it mean long term for this program?
It means that I think throughout, just like in the 1980s when they were going to the Final Four every year and making it, winning a state championship in '98, it sets the bar. And you go in every day, and you just have to work to push the kids to saying this is where we're striving to be, because this is where we have been. And some years you're not going to get to 30 wins, but at least you're striving to get there. Yeah. Of every day you're coming in and realizing the standard has been set, especially with some guys who are coming back off the team that were part of that. They've seen where we've been. They've been in that dressing room when we won a state championship. And those guys are now, once those 8 seniors leave, those are going to be the leaders to say, hey, we've got to ask yourself, what do we do to get here? Mm-hmm. And, when it's July and you'd rather be, sitting on the couch eating Cheetos, you've got to get up and say, hey, I've got this ring on because of the work we've done. And we've got to get to the gym and we've got to go back to work.
Coach Jones, we talked about in times past the importance of the underclassmen and building that program further down the line before we get to our varsity years.
Yeah, our B team this year struggled a little bit. We pulled Shannon Grant, who's 6'8", sophomore, that probably could have helped them, and the season would have went a lot smoother for them. But those kids worked hard every day in spite of. Our 9th grade was a really good team this year, coached by Coach Chris Smith, and our JV was coached by Coach Cecil Hollingquist. Now, now that it comes down to Coach Copeland and I looking at the numbers, looking at the personnel, and figuring out who needs to join the 5 on varsity and who needs to stay down. And it could very well be some of those guys from that freshman class being on the varsity team. The thing is, you have to have a big summer, and those guys have to commit and work hard and develop. And they could possibly step in and help us on the varsity level.
All right, parade is tomorrow.
Parade
4 o'clock. How's that going to work? Or are you just going to ride the parade?
They're going to tell us which car to get in.
There you go.
This is my family. This is Coach Jones' family.
This is a big time for the city of Sylacauga to show their appreciation to these student athletes, and they are student athletes.
They are student athletes, and these kids are big NBA fans, so I know they've seen parades, and so they're going to try to mimic whatever they see the Golden States do or the Cavaliers do, which is good because they deserve it. And they deserve every minute of that parade.
So get championship rings?
We have worked on championship rings. We're going to get them finalized. We're looking to have an alumni game to raise money on April 27th. That's not set yet, but we're trying to have an alumni game and bringing back the people of Sylacauga that played here and letting them play and we're going to get more information about that out to help us raise money to pay for these rings. So.
Legacy Arena in Birmingham Saturday morning when the clock shows nothing but zeros. Coach Jones, your first thoughts?
Man, unbelievable. Just it's really didn't know how to feel about it. Like I said earlier, I still don't know how to feel about it. Let me say this before, very important. I never want to leave a broadcast like this without saying how much we love our players. We love those kids. Yeah. And I am so proud of the city of Sylacauga. The love that they've shown to us, you can't help but be proud and have the same feeling about the city of Sylacauga.
How many times you pop the tape in and watch the game so far?
0. I watched the last few minutes, and I just was thinking how close it was to. I think it was Malik Crawford ran by number 13 getting that last shot off, and I thought, if he knocks that arm, that's going to be 3 free throws and we're down. And I just that's the way my brain works, and I just watched it over and over and just. But the main thing, one of the things I watched was the stands and the people that were excited, and that makes me feel good. That those people that drove to Birmingham and watched us and supported us and were there, and I saw the excitement in the background. That makes you feel good. And
finally, this morning, everybody's expecting Sylacauga now. You're the defending state champion, and they'll be gunning for you next year.
They will be, and that's fine, because we're going to tell our kids every day is, hey, you've got to work, and this, because people are going to, even though we lost 8 seniors, we're still the defending 5A state champs, and we've got to get that message to, our guys coming back next year.
Coach Jones, final thought with you this morning. This Sylacauga basketball program obviously is at the pinnacle now with a state champion, but there are games to be played yet next year.
Yeah, really, it is. Sylacauga has had a great tradition for statewide for being a top-notch basketball program. And it kind of leveled off a little bit, but the last 3 years we're right where we need to be. We've been to 3 straight regionals. We won 2 championships at 2 of them. We've been to 2 straight Final Fours, and we won championship this year. I just feel that those guys that we have this year coming back will have a shot to get back to Birmingham. All right. I truly believe that.
Thank you both for being with us this morning. Congratulations to these student athletes for the state championship in Class 5A. Coach Copeland, Coach Jones for being here with us this morning. Don't forget the parade tomorrow afternoon at 4 o'clock from downtown Sylacauga.